We're about to start our show. If you want to come over and see what's up. So we might need to get a little close because I forgot a camera, and so I'm gonna be doing this upside down and on the table. So come on in. Yeah. All right, cool. Thank you for being here. I'm Caesar, or I go by Gustavisimo, my artist name. I wanted to bring out the circadian rhythms. You may have heard a jam that I was just doing, so I'm just gonna let it rip, and then we'll talk about it. And so on. All right, so that's a little sample. Thank you. Yeah, so I wanted to bring out this circadian rhythms. I found myself using this a whole bunch, specifically for live performance, and it's just like I was just doing that stuff on the fly. I just have a 4-bar loop, and I'll show you guys how to make a loop right now. So the way that this works, and I know it's just like a bunch of white buttons, but once you kind of like break things apart, it kind of just makes a lot more sense. So I'm just gonna go through the sections real quick. So we got your groups, and in your groups you have 8 presets, and within those 8 presets you have 8 steps, and then you have your channel with your 8 channels. So I have 7 of these 8 channels going to, I should say 6 going to the endorphins. This is the Queen of Pentacles, which I have a love-hate relationship with it, but it rocks right now. And then I have a T-kick from Basto, which is just doing the bass line right now. So the way that you can look at this, right now this is what's called vertical mode. And really what we're gonna be looking at right now is these sections, these 5 sections, or rows, columns. And like I said, the group is gonna have the preset. So if I was to press play and put on the loop, you'll see it jumping from preset to preset. And each one of those is a different set of steps. So for example, let's do the, maybe not as loud. So you see it kind of goes down, and then it has like a little fill type deal at the end. And what I can also do is, as you can see, these are all red, which means everything's muted. So I can just punch in bits as I want, and just like build stuff and just like do stuff on the fly, which I really love about this. Because if I just want to like, you know, single things out, it's really simple. So let's say I have all of these going. I can just hold one, and now I'm soloing. And if I wanted to change, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, so let's make a new beat. I'm gonna clear the group, and so now this should have 0 sounds. Yeah, so they have utility buttons right here. We have a copy, paste, and clear. And as soon as you push those buttons, it holds it in memory for a little bit, and then you can go ahead and do your thing. So this is just on the first preset right here. So let's start with 4 on the floor. And then I'm gonna jump down to the next channel, which is my snare. And you can kind of, there's triggers right down here in this corner. And then you can test out as long as it's unmuted, you can see what's playing. And it has fills as well, which I'll get into. So next is the snare. Have some type of hi-hat thing, percussion thing, whatever. Next. Sorry, I'm doing these upside down, so. Next. And the nice thing is that, like, if you're a step editor type of person, it's pretty linear. Let's start with this. All right, so that's a pretty fun loop, right? Obviously, that's not gonna go on forever. So let's move into the next preset. And they have functions up here, group loop on and off, loop set, and then preset loop on and off. So I want to loop a preset. So it gives you the option loop set. What presets do you want to loop? You can, choose whatever amount of presets or order of presets that you want. So the ones that are lit green are going to be the ones that are looping. I don't have anything below 5, so I'm just going to do the top 3, 4. I'm going to press preset loop on. And you notice there's nothing playing because I haven't set anything to the presets. So the nice thing is that, okay, I'm on the fly, I'm doing my thing. You press copy that preset, paste to the next preset. There it is on the second one. And it holds it in memory, so I'm just gonna press paste and just add it to the next ones. So now I got my 4-bar loop. And this last one, I'm gonna mix it up. So let's say I mix up I choose the channel that I wanna edit. I'm gonna go down to, sorry, let me take that back. I'm gonna choose this little blippy bit. And on the last preset, I'm just gonna punch in those last buttons that are unlit. And the nice thing about this is that I'm not really good at like tracking the preset. So another thing that's cool about this is that, let's say that I'm too slow, which is typically the case. I'll go to my bass preset, and I want to punch in a few more, but I want it on all the presets. So I'll go press the channel that I want to edit, and just push in all of that. So now it pushed in that button on the 3 and the 7 on all the presets, which is really great because if I just want to do stuff on the fly, or I use it a lot for like hi-hats. There's a hi-hat. So for example, I'll hold down this preset, this channel, and just start punching all of them. So now that 16 notes is on all the channels, and then now I just made like a completely, new loop with like more dynamics and stuff like that. So I'm gonna take that back. In fact, I'm just gonna clear that. So let's go to clear. I'm gonna clear that channel. Come on. Oh, wrong one, that's why. Okay. Okay, so that's an example of just like how to make like loops on the fly, make a track on the fly, edit it, change up some things, and then again, that was only just 2 presets. So just extrapolate that to like, you have 8 more presets on a new group. You essentially make like a new, entire new song, entire album within this stuff, within these parameters. So let's see. Yes. They all trigger outs. That's a good question. So they all trigger outs. There is a way that you can do gate, which I brought my bass module, but it doesn't really take gate all that well. But for example, if I wanted to like set a gate, let's just use, it doesn't matter. So I'm just gonna clear that. Sorry, this is still upside down. Okay, so if I wanted to do a gate, I would just hold one button and whatever length I want to go. It lit up that whole bit. There it goes. So just imagine that gate, whatever you're putting it into, that's how it would work. And you can kind of hear it. It is like elongated. So maybe it'll work with this actually. Yeah, there we go. Thank you for putting that up. All right, so I mostly use it for triggers. All right, so next, let's move on. Another thing about this module is just the way that you look at it. So right now, I'm looking at it in vertical, which there's a vertical button here, which is essentially like home base. And then it starts like this. Like as soon as you turn it on, it starts like this. And then when you press it again, it shows the BPM in the buttons, which is kind of fun. And then like you can modulate it, the tempo right here. Right? So this is like the vertical view, but it also gives you the option to see it like going horizontally. So there's a button here that's 8 by 8. The way it breaks it up, as you can see, now it's going side to side. And so now each channel corresponds to each row. So this is now my my kick, my snare, my hat, and so on, as opposed to going up and down in those channels. The only thing with this is that it takes up all of the dots here, which doesn't allow me to mute on the fly, which is kind of like my deal. So I'm gonna unmute this. When I go back to 8 by 8, you'll see where those are hitting. There's a kick, there's a snare. And then it also like breaks it down even more. So this is a 4 by 16. So now you have 4 channels, but now in 16 beats. So I'm gonna go back to vertical. I'm gonna make that loop again. So now I'm just have these 2 presets. Go back to 4 by 16. Now you see us jumping from the first one to the second one. This is still the kick, the snare, and then this is, this is that little blippy bit, and then whatever this is probably the hat. If that makes sense. So it's like visually, it's like, you can look at it a whole bunch of different ways depending on like how your workflow is. And then again, it like slices it even more. 2 by 32. So now it's just the kick and the snare. And if you want to get down to the other channels, there's an arrow button here. So now if I press down, this is that blippy. This is the hi-hat, which I'm gonna expand it to 4. Back to vertical. Loop set. I'm gonna set now 4 loops. So I'm gonna go back to that 2 by 32. So yeah, again, this is the kick, snare, blippy, the hi-hats, but it's like now the 4 bar preset. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. I can't hear you, I'm sorry. Yes. Okay. Yes, I am getting to that. All right. So how we get to that? He said polymeters, or in other words, like triplets, or like micro effects, or micro beats. So I'm gonna just mute. The hi-hat's kind of like the best example, honestly. So there's this other function called zoom. Once you press zoom, it zooms into whatever channel you're in. And also you can go down the arrows. Sorry. I'm going to turn off the loop just to make it easier to see. All right, once you press the zoom, you see my hi-hat's hidden here. Now it's going vertical, but horizontally, these are like micro hits within that 8-bar loop. So now for this, like let's say the 3 hit, you see that it has like a little like ratchet. Let's just get that in there, sure. And you could do the same with like, the way that this works is this first column is the preset. So this is the first preset for those hats. And here, this last column is the channel. So I'm gonna go to the kick. Let me unmute it first. Go back to zoom. I'm gonna be editing the kick on the second preset. So now let's throw in some like ratchet or like some off beats or some ratchet kick. Sure. You know, you can kind of get like really intricate with this stuff. So it's super fun. And then obviously you can just put it on like the regular hits. That sounds fun. Okay. All right, so that's kind of like ratcheting a bit. What am I missing? So we went over the presets, and I'm not gonna go into like groups, but like if you wanna like chain together a whole bunch of different sets of presets, then that's where groups go into play. And it's the same deal where like you turn on the group loop functionality, choose what groups you want to incorporate, and then you press play, and then you're good to go. All right, so we went over the steps, more utility stuff. So we went over the looping functions, copy, paste, and clear. Random chaos, this one's something I actually just learned, and it's interesting. So let's say that I have no ideas, or I just want to change things up, and I'm going to turn off the loop. Right now it's playing on the second preset. I'm going to go all the way down to here, the 6th preset. It doesn't have anything. If you press random and then press that preset, it's just going to plug in whatever. So that's just like automated. And then like, oh, that doesn't sound right, or that's too much. I'm going to do it again. Do it again until I find something. That sounds interesting. And then more so, there's chaos in that same button. So there's the green. When it goes red, I'm going to go down to the 7th. Now it's going to put in some of those micro timings that I was talking about, so like the ratchets and stuff. So let's go to the hat. You hear those little like blips, but it's going to do it for all of these. So yeah. And then the nice thing is that, like, let's say you want to throw in something crazy. It was like, oh, this is a little too crazy. Copy whatever you had that you liked, and then paste it to that last. Now this is playing what this was. So it's really, really fun to just like mess around with stuff, and it's like, oh, it's too much. I need to back off, and then just like bring something else back in that you're comfortable with. All right. Clock. So you can run this as a master or a slave. And then swing, kind of self-explanatory. You could do it per channel. So you don't have to like have everything swinging. You can just have the hats or like percussion or whatever. Beat, so if you want to have it, when you switch to a new preset, and you can have it wait till the end of the loop, or you can just have it jump right away. Tap tempo. Reset is, as explained, if you want to jump back to the top, you'll see it jumping back to the top. Fill. This is like one of the things I use probably the most, especially in live settings. So once you press this fill, it activates all these triggers as opposed to being just one shots. You can like press and hold. So it's really fun to just like throw in like fills and just like, you know, builds and stuff like that. And it's for each channel. And on top of that, like let's say I don't want 16 notes. If I press fill again, it goes into this like little side menu where it's broken down into like quarter notes. This is eighth notes, 16 notes, 32. So if I was to press that kick again, and it does triplets too. It works better with 16. Right? And then after that, there's a sync boss, which I don't use. I think what it's referring to is on the backside, there's a bus that you can sync onto others, Tiptop or Circadian stuff. Global, you can hook this up to your DAW via USB and some other things, MIDI, I believe, which I don't really get into. And then the little jacks right here. Got your swing. I have clock out going to Peter's. We were jamming earlier. If you want to just have something trigger in your reset, you have a thing for that. Clock in, clock out, and that's it. You guys have any questions? Yes, I believe that's from USB. I haven't tried it before just because I've never like really filled up the entire group and preset selection, just because I'm always erasing the whole thing, but I know there is a functionality for that. So if you fill it up, set it for another set, you can always get back to it. You know what? I'm not sure. I want to say yes, but I can't answer that question because I haven't used that before, but that would make sense. But I'm very basic, like out of the box type of dude. All right, any other questions? Cool, yeah, so thanks for sitting through my presentation. Just wanted to like point this out. Like I have a lot of fun with this, and like as opposed to getting stuck in like a box or just like you know, having to menu dive and stuff, because I also have like PAM and like a bunch of other sequencers, but this one is like really opened my eyes as far as just like flexibility and be able to like do stuff on the fly. I just connect this to like my DAW with whatever kicks or kits I have, and then yeah, it's just like really simple just to get lost in it and like make really fun stuff, and that's it. Cool, thanks.